Hello, everyone. I'm Reverend Richard Miner. I'm the Graduate Engagement Officer here at One Spirit Learning Alliance in New York City. And today I'm really excited because I am here with Rev. Deborah Berman, LCSW. Deb, thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here, Richard.
Deborah, I've been really looking forward to this interview because you are such an important part of our community here. You are a graduate of the Interfaith Seminary, the class of 2018, and you're also currently working as a dean in the Interspiritual Counseling Program. In addition to those things, you've got a few other, irons in the fire right now that I'm really looking forward to talking to you about. So, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what you're doing?
Sure. So I'm a psychotherapist in private practice. I'm also earning a doctorate in ministry and pastoral counseling from Hebrew Union College, Jewish Institute of Religion. And I am the founder and spiritual director of Pride Ministry, which is an affirming spiritual community for alternative souls. That means kink, poly, consensual non-monogamy, alternative relationships, alternative lifestyles, and anything that's sort of outside of the narrow norm model.
That sounds really fascinating. Now, you came to this after you were in seminary. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience in seminary and how it impacted your life and your work?
Sure. So seminary was intensely deep and spiritually transformative experience for me, and one that led me to examine all parts of myself so that none of me was exiled. And in doing so, I really started to think about what communities are exiled and what communities are underserved. And so all of my training, which was incredibly deep and very diverse at the seminary, allowed me to start my own ministry when I graduated, and to be able to work with underserved population, which are people in alternative relationships, alternative lifestyles, and alternative family constellations, queer, genderqueer, LGB, and other populations. And within my ministry, I offer counseling services that are affirming, life cycle event officiants for non-traditional, non-mainstream events and milestones. And also I have a plethora of programs that are coming up in the next few months, a support group for clergy and spiritual leadership who themselves are in non-conforming relationships or alternative lifestyles. Also another training program that I've started, which starts in late February, which I'm very excited about, is for clergy and spiritual community leaders, and for students as well, and counselors to understand more about the concepts and sort of the vocabulary so that they can better understand what alternative relationships are and what the spiritual and community needs are of people who are in relationships that span diverse demographics. So I'm really excited that's coming down the pike in just a few weeks.
Well, you're doing a lot of cutting edge work. You're going off into this new paradigm. What have been the greatest challenges of your current work?
I think the greatest challenge of my current work is the lack of research that has been done on the various demographic groups whom I serve. And also, I think there is just very little understood within spiritual and faith communities about people who are poly or kinky or have some sort of alternative or chosen family. And so I think there is a bit of resistance on that front, not because people are hostile, although there are some, but I think because there's a lack of information. So it's a challenge that there's such a lack of information, but I love that challenge because part of my work at Pride Ministry is advocacy and education. So I actually am working with some faith community leadership as a consultant to help bring their faith communities and their organizations from being merely welcoming to being actually truly affirming and really fulfilling their own values of a truly inclusive community.
And how are you getting the word out about this work that you're doing and about the new organization you're creating?
So I'm really very excited about my website, which I invite everyone to visit at prideministry.com. And you can sign up to be on the newsletter and receive updates and information on upcoming programs for professionals and also community events as well. I'm also on Facebook, and I love my Facebook, so you can find me at Pride Ministry at Alt Souls, and you can also just visit my personal Pride Ministry, my personal Facebook page, which is Rev Deb, Pride Ministry. And I really love connecting with people on Facebook. I get lots of questions on theology and sexuality and relationships. And it's really wonderful. And in my next newsletter, there have been so many questions coming in through Facebook. I have an Ask the Reverend section where I will answer people's questions about being spiritual and being alternative.
Well, that sounds really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to reading that section. If somebody that's watching us is thinking about starting their own ministry and doing something unusual or different, what advice would you have for them?
Sure. I think really the primary thing is to center yourself and figure out what you have to offer, because what you have to offer is beautiful and unique and it's your own. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to stand out there alone. You know, Pride Ministry is the only ministry that is standing out there saying, we really need to affirm the experiences of spiritual people who are, you know, kinky and poly and in alternative constellations, which of course is you. And so for myself to just be able to stand out there, just do it. And it really, really helps because I have excellent colleagues from my One Spirit Ubuntu class of 2018 to talk with. So I recommend, you know, have really close colleagues, but also don't forget that this is a process. Be in supervision, take your time, and just remember that this is not a race. You will be able to take your population that you're working with only as far as you have been yourself. You cannot walk with someone any farther. So just take care of your own development too.
Deb, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me and to share your experience and your vision and your wisdom with us and the One Spirit community. I'm really looking forward to seeing your new ministry thrive and expand, and looking forward to seeing the work that you continue to do here at One Spirit. So thank you again for joining me, and I will look forward to seeing you at One Spirit.
Thank you, Richard. Namaste.